Even more, 54 House members, led by California Democrat Barbara Lee, have written to Mr. Obama asking for a full congressional debate and approval prior to committing U.S. forces to action. Congresswoman Lee joins me now from Berkeley. Thanks very much, Congresswoman. Do you believe that it is a legal requirement, or do you think that this is a politically important mandate that the president should
Andrea,
follow?
thank you very much. I think it's a political requirement. It's also a legal and constitutional requirement. Our constituents, the country, deserves to have Congress exercise its constitutional responsibility and engage in a full debate and then a vote as to whether or not the use of force makes sense. Now, Secretary Kerry, of course, I believe presented a compelling case. He presented many facts, but members of Congress need to present this to their constituents and to the public and engage in a full debate. We also have to talk about the unintended consequences, Andrea. And Secretary Kerry was absolutely correct. There is no military solution, and there must be a negotiated settlement. A full debate would lay out what the alternatives could be, what a negotiated settlement could look like, and also why there is no military solution. And so this is absolutely a defining moment, and I'm very pleased that the President and the Secretary are coming forward with the evidence, because these are some horrific crimes against humanity, and we cannot stand by and allow this to occur. But the question is, how do we move forward, and how does Congress exercise its legal and constitutional responsibility to represent the people of this country to make this critical decision?
Well, should the president and or the speaker have called Congress back? I know Congress members all over the country are complaining about this, but they could have returned to, first of all, get the classified briefing in person, or they could have pushed for a congressional session.
I think we should be called back even now, Andrea. This is such an important issue. We should be there doing our job. This is our constitutional responsibility. We should vote. Who knows what the outcome of that vote would be? But minimally, we should be called back in. We should engage in this debate. We should talk about what the regional implications are, what this means in terms of any type of unintended consequences, any possible retaliation, what a military strike really would achieve. And in fact, that's our job, to engage in this debate and to vote. And so there are 54 members, and more members want to join us, of course, in this whole effort, communicating to the Commander-in-Chief and to the Secretary that we think that we have a duty and responsibility to really engage in this so that we can move forward, and those who want to support the President and in this effort would have a vote. They could cast that on behalf of their constituents.
But finally, Barack Obama, as you know better than I do, was one of the leading Democratic politicians against the Iraq war. So if he says that this is different, that the evidence is there, that no one's disputing that chemicals were used, and that they have the evidence linking it to the Assad regime, does that persuade you, since he has always come at this from a very cautious anti-war perspective?
And I'm very pleased that the President has come at this in a very cautious manner. The Secretary said this was not Iraq, this was not Libya, this is not Afghanistan. But also, that has nothing to do with our constitutional responsibility as members of Congress, Andrea. There are members who would vote for this. There are members who may not vote for it. The point is, we should engage in a discussion, in a full public debate, and talk about what the unintended and intended consequences could or should be, and in fact what the regional implications are, and what the engagement of our military hardware and some military forces could be. I trust the President that he's not going to send boots on the ground. I know that he does not want to engage this country in another long-term open-ended war. We get that, but that has nothing to do with members of Congress representing the people in our country who would like to engage in this debate and cast a vote on their behalf. That's our constitutional and our legal requirement.
Thank you very much, Barbara Lee. By the way, as my colleague Rachel Maddow said last night, there was a very lively House debate on all of this for 8 hours yesterday. Well, it wasn't here. It was over in London in Parliament. Thanks, Congresswoman.
Thanks.
And coming up inside the